All right, guys, Cody here. It's been a couple days since I did a video. Finally, got some downtime after working all week, so wanted to get another one out. I got a couple questions here, and I'd like to clarify a couple of the things I said in another video. I had a DS agent buddy, one of my former BSAT classmates, that wrote to me to clarify a couple things that have changed. So that's a good thing. Let's see here what we got. All right, so in keeping with what I've tried to do is kind of start from the beginning. You're researching DS, you want to know about it to consider whether or not you're going to apply. So one of the questions a guy had was about the background investigation. Should I expect any curveballs? But a top secret clearance is not really hard to get. A lot of people have them. I have buddies that have had arrests and DUIs and different things, and they still got one. Now, there's a lot of considerations. I don't know the exact parameters, but it's probably, if you had an arrest or a DUI, there has to be a certain amount of time that has passed since then into which you wouldn't, you didn't get in any type of trouble or something like that. And I don't know the specifics of it, but generally they're pretty straightforward. You fill out what's called an SF-86. It's a long form. It goes back, well, I think either 7 or 10 years is how far it goes back, or 7 mostly, and then I think 10 years for some items. But you fill it out, and then someone will come interview you. It's likely be a contractor. The DS contracts out, and background investigator, contractor will come talk to you, answer the questions truthfully. This guy asked specifically if there's any curveballs. I don't think so. The only thing you need to really be concerned about answering, or apply yourself a little more, would be if you did get in some type of trouble, or you did do some things that might be questionable, or you have friends or family that may say something about you. You'll need to be able to articulate that to hopefully come to some type of resolution in which you can articulate that you weren't so bad, I guess. So it's pretty straightforward. Next thing, let's see here. Do most people retire as a DS agent or move up into other opportunities to move up, or other organizations to move up higher at GS level? So I think that's I don't know if people would, there's a combination of things that people have done. I and several friends or colleagues did several years in DS. Some did 4, some did 10, some did 12, and moved on to the corporate world, corporate security. And you do that for a number of reasons, whether it be for family opportunities, or your kids are going to school, or and you don't want them to leave that school, or just the lifestyle is too tough, or people want to make more money. If you get up to be an FS2, which would be an equivalent to a senior manager, even a director of a corporate security program, you can make a good bit of money in the corporate sector. So people do that. People also jump organizations because, again, some organizations, FBI, DEA, ICE, you don't travel as much, you don't move around as much, so people do that. Now, do they do it, to this particular question, do they do it to jump in rank? I don't think there's that many that are doing that. I know some people are with DS, and then they'll, say they're the equivalent of a GS-12, and they see an OIG position pop up, and it's a GS-13. Well, if they've met the criteria to apply for that GS-13, they may do that. But I feel like most people I know have not done it for promotion purposes. They've done it for family reasons, for just to get out of government, get into the corporate security, maybe make a little more money, and possibly have some stability in where you live and stuff like that. So I don't know the full answer. That's just some ideas I have, and some things of information of people that I know. What type of training do agents go through, and what's the overall length? So I think it's about 7.5 months for the initial training. I say think because I remember it's between 7 and 8. And there might be again, DS agents can hit me up and tell me if this is the case. But at one point before I left, there was talk about adding high threat tactical training towards the end of your basic special agent course, which would increase your time in training. And I don't know how long that training is. It was everything from 10 weeks, 11 weeks, and 5 weeks when I was with DS. It's called high threat tactical training. Now it's called Atlas, and I can't think what Atlas stands for. Advanced training and leadership, something like that. But anyway, the basic training is 3 weeks you do at the Foreign Service Institute. Then you go to FLETC. FLETC is about 3 months. And then after FLETC, you go to BSAC, which when I was going through was in a number of places. You did a little bit in Dunlaurin, Virginia, which is kind of DC metro area. And then we did some stuff. It's called BSR Raceway down in West Virginia. Did a lot of shooting out there as well. Now there's a new training facility at Fort Pickett, and I know nothing about it besides what I've seen in the news. And I have a couple. I think I have a buddy that's training there. That's an instructor there. I haven't got much intel. I haven't talked to him about any specific intel. What I do know is people that have commented say it's a fantastic facility. And I think it's necessary. It's needed. I liked what we did with DS, the training there, because you do it in a real environment. We'll literally do protection as just special agent candidates, and you'll do real movements on the real highways on I-66 in Virginia, and go to the malls and walk a diamond. It's pretty cool because you're dealing with real people in training. Whereas if you're in a controlled environment, you'll have to have some type of actors, likely op force, depending on what training you're doing. So, but it's about 8 months total is what you're looking at. The last thing is something that I figured I'd hit on now because, and maybe this is what sparked this question because of the coronavirus. But what role, if any, would the DSS play in the evacuation of embassies? So, excuse me. A significant role. The consulate in Wuhan, China was evacuated. When those types of things happen, it's not just a unilateral, hey, we're evacuating. There's a thing at the embassy called the Emergency Action Committee, generally chaired by the DCM, oftentimes led by the regional security officer, which is the DS special agent. There's a management officer there. You could have different elements of the government that aren't State Department, but that work at embassies. CDC could be there, Foreign Agriculture Service, you name it. But it's basically a bunch of different section heads that get together for the Emergency Action Committee and come up with a plan, idea, monitoring, you name it. That's what they do. DS always has a significant role, whether they're the leader or not. For example, in this situation with Wuhan and the coronavirus, they're probably one of the leaders, but there may be someone else that's taking a little charge and helping the evacuation, maybe management, maybe if there's an element of CDC or something there. If, for example, it was a hostile evacuation because of hostile threat, no doubt DS would take the lead. That's what we do. I had that experience out in Erbil where ISIS came within 8 miles. If you read the book, we ended up having to do an evacuation, and we led that whole charge. And it's not easy. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of elements that have to be in place to get people out of there. So DS has an instrumental role in facilitating an evacuation from any mission or consulate or embassy. So anyway, that's all I got. It's Friday night. I'm going to hang with the fam. So thanks for your time. If you got any more questions, continue to submit them. I appreciate it. I'm enjoying doing these. If you catch me on YouTube, then I'd ask you to follow me on Instagram at agentsunknown_book. I have a Facebook page. Also start a Facebook group. I will attempt to post a link to that Facebook group if for like-minded people that are interested in joining DS. You can go to that group and we can start chatting there. What else? Got an audio book coming out in April. So if you're interested, if you don't have time to read, if you have a long commute or just want to lay around and listen to a book, it's professionally produced, professionally edited, directed. So I'm pretty pumped about it. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. Out.